So over the weekend, 3 officers get killed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 3 more get wounded by a guy who is a black nationalist, racist, hates cops, hates white people. And President Obama immediately issues his statement. Here's President Obama. Here's what he said about what just happened, the shooting of cops in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Regardless of what organizations you are a part of, everyone right now focus on words and actions that can unite this country rather than divide it further. We don't need inflammatory rhetoric. We don't need careless accusations thrown around to score political points or to advance an agenda. We need to temper our words and open our hearts, all of us.
You shut your head, sir. And the reason you should shut your head is because every word that you just said, it's like, does the guy own a mirror? Like, where's he from? What, like, the lack of self-awareness here, is it genetics? Like, what's the story here? Because listen to what he just said. He said, attacks on police are an attack on all of us. What have you been doing for the last several years? He says, we don't need inflammatory rhetoric. What? Wait, what? You had, last week, DeRay McKesson, a Black Lives Matter activist who says that looting is good, that race riots are... You had him to the White House. He said race riots are good. You had him to the White House. And there you told the Louisiana police to be nicer to him. And we don't need inflammatory rhetoric. He says we don't need careless accusations thrown around to score political points. You went to the funeral memorial of 5 murdered officers, murdered by an anti-white, anti-cop racist. You went to their funeral memorial with their families in the audience, and you equated their murder with the killings of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile, and you have no facts on either of those. We don't need careless accusations thrown around to score political points. My God, Hillary Clinton was speaking at the NAACP today. We'll have the clips of it tomorrow. Hillary Clinton at the NAACP, and she says the same thing. Alton Sterling and Philando Castile show the police are racist. You don't even know what happened there. What in the hell are you saying? You know how bad the DNC is? You know how bad Obama is? You know how bad Hillary is? The DNC is having a very special guest speak at the convention. Seriously, this is the next week. At the DNC, they are going to have, I believe in primetime, speak the mother of Michael Brown. The mother of Michael Brown. Michael Brown was a strong-arm robber who tried to thug his way out of a convenience store with cigarillos and then proceeded to punch a cop in the face, grab his gun, and try and murder him before the cop grabbed his gun back, at which point Michael Brown turned around and charged him full-on, according to black witnesses, Eric Holder's Department of Justice, and a mostly black police department and jury. Well, not police department, but jury. Because this idea is just, it's absurd all the way through. It's absurd all the way through. He's lecturing us on coming together. He's lecturing us on coming together. Now, here's the truth. Right now, his approval rating, according to ABC, is 56%. His approval rating, according to Gallup, is 51%. Every time a cop gets killed, President Obama's approval ratings go up. You know why? You know why? Because the media then call him a racial uniter. It's a problem, and the media see him as the savior, right? That's why he was elected in the first place. We have this long, terrible racial history here in the United States. It's a really bad history. We'll elect this black guy, and he'll come in his own person. He's both white and black. He grew up in a white household. His mom was white. His dad was black. He can unify us all. And every time there's a racial issue, the media turn back to, oh, he's such a uniter. Oh, he's so wonderful. He's so great. Because they're not going to acknowledge the obvious, which is that he's exacerbating racial conflict for his own political gain. He's going back to black folks and saying, you guys are the victims. And then he's going to the media and saying, look, I'm trying to bring the country together. These are conversations we wouldn't have been able to have except for me. It's very important that I lead the conversation. It's so sickening. I mean, it makes you sick to your stomach. It really is gross stuff. And again, President Obama doesn't get to claim surprise every time cops are shot. He said last Thursday, quote, I think it is fair to say we will see more tension between police and communities this month, next month, next year, for quite some time. I thought it was your job to help tamp that down. I thought it was your job to help create a certain sense of unity in the United States. But apparently not. Apparently not. Apparently, it's just President Obama's job to make things significantly worse. And he continues along these lines, President Obama. He says that, this was an attack on all of us, this attack against the cops.
Regardless of motive, the death of these 3 brave officers underscores the danger that police across the country confront every single day. And we as a nation have to be loud and clear that nothing justifies violence against law enforcement. Attacks on police are an attack on all of us and the rule of law that makes society possible.
Oh, you mean that racist law? That systemically racist law? You mean that whole criminal justice system that's targeting viciously young black men? Is that the system you're talking about? You know, the one that you were bashing last week and that you'll be bashing 2 days from now? It really is amazing stuff. It really is amazing. The lack of self-awareness, and more importantly, he knows what he's doing. The media just don't care. They won't cover it. They won't pay attention to it because he has to be their great racial savior. And so no matter what happens, he's the great racial savior. And then finally he adds, we should be part of the solution, not part of the problem. I mean, this kind of hypocrisy just makes you want to vomit and never stop vomiting.
We need what we saw in Dallas this week, as a community came together to restore order and deepen unity and understanding. We need the kind of efforts we saw this week in meetings between community leaders and police, some of which I participated in, where I saw people of goodwill.
Now he says he's the great racial unifier. We need the kind of things I did at the White House, where I got cops in a room with DeRay McKesson, who just yells at cops all the time. And then we came to no agreement, but it made me look really good because I looked like I was unifying two sides. It's really, really gross stuff. It's really sickening. Now, there have been some people who have responded properly to this. The Baton Rouge sheriff